We refer to this beautiful relic of like human divinity. We call it a vagina. This is actually not a vagina. It is a vulva. The vulva is all parts of what we would consider downstairs on women. There's labia majora, there's labia minora that lead up to a clitoral hood. The clitoral hood sits above the clitoris, right here. And then internally, this place where your penis goes, where tampons go, where we like tongues and other phallic items to go and babies come out of, this is the actual vagina.
Oh, okay.
Right? This is not the vagina. This is a vulva. I really think we should get language clear about that. And there are a lot of other things about language that bother me, right? So I'm just gonna say it now. Why are you trying to beat me up? Why are you trying to murder me? I want to be very, very clear. The language by which we talk about sex in Black communities is disturbing. We talk about, oh, I'm finna beat it up. I'm gonna shoot up the club. I'm gonna murder the pussy. Why are we using violent language to describe an intimate act?
Okay.
I don't know. I want him to murder the pussy.
Now, you know, I think it's like when you have really good sex and it's called beating up the pussy, like this whole area gets really swollen and fat and it hurts.
Yeah, no, I get that.
So that's like the beat up.
Listen. Aggressive sex can be painful, and I'm okay with that. But we have to stop marketing that as normal sex. We have to stop using language that is abusive for a normal sex act. Black women experience homicide at rates alarmingly higher than their white counterparts. And oftentimes that's attached to domestic violence. We have to change the fucking language.
Can I ask you this?
You know,
all right, so real quick, so I'm not disagreeing, but let's say a woman like Danny is comfortable with that in her relationship, or the guys, whatever she deals with. Is that wrong? Because you know how the N-word, we've taken it to make it our own, right? Which is still a problematic word, but same way, can't a woman or that couple take that word or that phrase and make it their own and say, you know what? Yeah, he's murdering the pussy, but at the end of the day, it's understood between them two. Is it a way to kind of like own it?
I would rather women be able to say that than allow Black men to say that, because that is the exact same as a fucking drunken fraternity white boy using the N-word when he raps to Eminem songs or other rappers' songs and saying, well, it's just a song. The fuck out of here.
All right, so
we have to do better. Like, I'm not even trying to shame anybody.
No,
I'm saying when you look at what is happening with maternal mortality rates of Black women, with SB 8 happening in Texas, and women's rights being removed for their bodily autonomy, we really need Black men to step up and do better. And if behind closed doors, you want to say, ooh, I'm finna beat it up, and that is what you and your partner decide, I'm fine with that. But what I'm saying is, let me finish, the commercialization, the commercialization of the idea that I'm gonna beat the pussy up or I'm gonna murder the pussy. That's problematic language. And I'm only saying that to you because I have worked in schools. I've worked with middle schoolers who have actually adapted their sexual behavior to violent behavior to get in bed with their peers. Really? Because we have taught them as adults through our music, through our conversations, through our movies. So that is the base. And from there, we can grow. That's it. That's all I'm saying.
I feel so bad because I didn't know that. Because I'd be like, choke me!
I mean, honey, I like to get my back blown out too. And that's the other side of the narrative. I too enjoy being submissive in the bedroom, but that is between me and my partner.
Yeah, but what about people who are extremely freaky, like into BDMS. What is that? What it's called?
BDSM.
You know, so like those people that are like whipping people and
We don't use that
clamping people
language. We don't use that language.
What language?
abusing people. Like,
We don't use that language.
but they do because
No,
they.
are you
that's
in
their
BDSM?
No, not me. But
Okay, so stop saying they do. I'm telling you. I'm telling you.
What language is that? Do you mean the whipping? You talking about using that
So
word?
we may use violent language. We may choose to submit to power, but it is always pre-negotiated. It is always consensual. Oftentimes there are safe words. How many of you here have safe words for your partner?
I never got that far.
me neither. I think it's like you said. It's about being
No,
communicative.
meaning I don't.
Like,
I don't
with
have
your
sex to
partner.
the point where I need to say a safe
Exactly.
word. That's what I'm saying.
If you're
No,
having
look, hold on.
I'm not that kinky.
No, let me break it down.
My
So
partner's not hurting me like that. Where
Yeah.
I'm like pineapple.
Yeah.
Like no. Like,
I'll give you a real example of why you would. I'll give you a real example of why you would need a safe word. Say you like to be choked.
Yep.
At some point,
I like to be choked.
If you're getting choked and you're enjoying it, but then it's also getting a little too tight.
Yep.
It's also getting a little too tight. You need to be able to, because if you say stop, people be like, oh, okay, it's just a no, stop. It's one of those. Whereas you actually want him to stop or like just like come up 3 inches off my neck.
I understand.
So,
that. What
yeah,
I'm saying
let me-
is
wait,
that
hold on,
I
let
don't
me
have
answer
sex to that point. That's all I'm saying.
because I'm somebody that I do personally like that, and I've experienced that multiple times, and I feel like I just trust in my partner that they're not gonna choke me to death. I trust in my partner that they're not gonna make me pass out. To notice my face while they're on top of me choking me. To notice if I'm passing out. If I'm passing out, you need to stop.
But what
Like,
if your
that's
face
just
is in the
common
pillow?
sense.
How do they know?
What if your face is in the pillow and they're
mean,
choking
I feel
you
like you
this?
make noise, like like
No,
I
but
don't
see,
know,
they
like
could
you
think
make
that
it
that
known.
was-
I don't
that-
know.
but they
Like,
could think.
Hey,
Here's
I'm
the
with
thing,
you.
like I'm
no,
not.
like you don't say like I don't know. That's just me.
I've choked women in my life, and I've always was very conscious
Conscious.
of what I'm doing and what's going on. What's too long? Like, listen. Some people have safe words because some people have stronger thresholds than others. And if that's what turns you on, that's what turns you on. Me personally, the women that I've had sex with, I've never had that type of extreme where we felt it was necessary to bring in a safe word. If she said, yo, yeah, I like X, Y, and Z. Sorry for the clap. If she said, yes, I like X, Y, and Z, let's make pineapple the safe word. And I'm like, all right, cool. Then I'm gonna reciprocate and use pineapple as a safe word. But I'm gonna tell you, as somebody who has had a good life, we never had a safe word.
You know what? Wait, Michelle, you are right. I want to share a story. You guys are right. I was too rough, and I didn't know it. And then she told me afterwards she would never have sex again with me because she was too rough. I was too rough, but she didn't make any signs. She just went along with it. And I replayed it, and I said, you didn't say nothing. She said, at that moment, it was almost like I wasn't, my body was here, but my mind wasn't. And I realized like, yo, and she replayed it, she broke it down. She was like, I was in pain, like you was too rough. And I just like, almost like a person that's playing dead for the bear to stop. Yep. So that's what she did. So you know what? I take it back. At that time, and I'm 36, I was in my 20s, and I did have sex where it was rough. And she didn't say nothing until after, and we never had sex again. And I was conscious of it, as Naisha was saying about when I am having sex, my choking, even though I didn't use a safe word, that moment where she told me what it was, I've been more cognizant of the choke and how rough I'm going. I'm paying attention to a woman's body. But so.
I want to be very transparent with if you're seeing my facial reactions or my body language change. What is happening for me is I am conflicted deeply.
And that's when I stopped.
Because I get it that we don't talk about this stuff. So we're not open and we're not honest about past traumas. So we'll act like, ooh, I can take the big dick, slay this pussy, beat it up, daddy. But unfortunately, a lot of people have not fully processed their sexual trauma. So in the moment, they can have a PTSD reaction. Mm-hmm. And they may or may not have even realized that it would come up for them. Like the person you thought you were having, was enjoying it. And because we have not been educated on language, we have not been taught how to have these conversations, we continue to put ourselves in positions where we can be hurt. And then we don't talk about them and we move on to the next relationship.
yourself more.
All my friends are like, ooh, girl, he was the worst dick ever. And I'll always be like, well, did you tell him? No, girl, I just stopped calling him. Thank you for throwing him back out into the dating pool. So now I can catch his raggedy ass and have bad sex with him. We as a community, and it's not just, black and brown people, we have not been given a space where we feel safe talking about sex and sexuality. And a part of that is connected to the long history of sexual trauma we have experienced here and within our families.
I don't know. You were gonna say something. I feel like a lot of women actually they don't really enjoy sex. They do it for their partner, so they don't really express to their partner how they feel about it.
Right.
A lot of women will go have sex with a dude and act like, I came. No, bitch, you didn't bust a nut.
Come on.
You never did.
Talk about it.
A lot of women don't come from sex. A lot of women do things to please their partner. They don't do things to please themselves.
Yes, girl.
And I used to do that at first, but now I please myself. And I turn myself on so much that he get turned on and he will be like, oh shit, you turning, you know what I'm saying? Cause I'm done worrying about dude, because a lot of time we don't enjoy it. We're stuff breaker. We act like we do. You could have that face, but fix your face. But we don't know. A lot of time women don't really enjoy sex and they don't know how to say that. Then we leave the relationship, like you said. They be like, yo, his dick was whack. I didn't like the way he had sex with me, but we never talked about it.
You got Michelle thinking you were Rico. She's like, are they dating? I was like, no, they're not dating.
Are they dating?
She's just looking
No,
for
but
ammo.
you're
No,
right,
but-
Danny.
So look,
You have to learn yourself
something,
too,
right?
though. Not every woman just knows how to please themselves either. I honestly feel like I learned that as I got older, how to please myself.
Yeah, because you were a child when you were having sex. And
No. I had my daughter when I was
And
16,
guess
so
what?
I was a
Exactly,
child.
And I was a
I
child
was a
when I
child.
was having sex. So when I thought I was beating the pussy up when I was 16, 18, 19, 20, I really wasn't.
No, you were
and when
not.
you thought
That
you
is
could come,
clear.
you really
You
couldn't.
were- no,
but now
you're not,
let's talk about adulthood,
Facts.
right? Because as an adulthood, Danny, you know how to make yourself come, right? Okay, cool.
But there are a lot of adult people who don't know how to make themselves come.
that is true. And I am not saying that doesn't exist. All I'm saying is, let's speak on the adults that do also know how to make themselves come and are open.
So let's talk
knowing
about
themselves.
adults who have experienced assault and now can't come because they have a blockage, because that's more of the population than people who are comfortable with. I'm not bagging what you're saying.
Listen, I don't know.
So my question
I can't
to
speak
you,
on that.
how do we get to the other side of that?
Well, I think it's a combination
Yeah.
of things. It's checking in with yourself and identifying what raises red flags in you when you're with your partner, right?
I think some people I've had a situation recently, and I say recently by within the last 2 years, where someone I was dating with, she had some type of trauma in her life early on in her life, well before I met her. And some of the acts that I guess happened to her actually helped make her come, which was kind of strange to me.
Oh, like a trauma bond kind of.
Probably.
There definitely is something like that, and there are some studies that speak to individuals who have experienced sexual assault who move into spaces of BDSM as a way to reclaim their power. And sometimes people do explore their sexuality and their sexual power and their prowess and their dominance in a sex space to reclaim the power from the trauma they experienced. That is a totally realistic thing, right? I guess what I'm saying is, I'm not here to judge anybody or what they want to do sexually. I just think we have to find a way to be more conversational prior to fucking. Can we talk about a safe word? Even if you ain't finna pull my hair.
Let me ask you a question. How do you have that conversation? Because I think
That's
a lot
what I'm
of
saying,
because so some of us, I'm an over communicator, so I'm going to be very direct, very specific, and very 1, 2, 3 about what I want. But a lot of people don't take well to that, and other people don't communicate that same way. So someone who's not used to communicating like that, what would you tell them regarding starting that conversation with their partner. And this is from a woman's perspective.
Yep.
Because I feel like men are allowed to be more sexual. Men are like praised for bagging women. Men are, even from a younger age, they're allowed to, conquer women or whatever. And so they feel more comfortable having conversations about what they like and what they want and so on and so forth.
So here's what I would say. Did I do something to you?
No, I think
So here's what I would say. I love a sex date. Right? And some of you might be like, what the hell is a sex date? A sex date is where you talk about your sexual desires with your partner without the focus of the date being on actually having sex. Have some restraints. Imagine how much more you would want to have sex with them in the morning if you just talked about sex that night. I also am a big proponent of going through the I will, I want, I won't list, which I've talked about many, many times, but it's basically a list of all the sexual acts that you can perform. And I am pretty sure, sitting on this couch with all of you, there are some acts on that list that you would not perform.
Damn right.
Like, I know for a fact,
my ass alone.
I am pretty sure bloodletting
Yeah.
is not a sexual act anybody on this couch is into.
What is that?
Oh, bloodletting is where you actually, bloodletting. It's what it sounds like.
Like you
it's
cut-
where you cut, it's
Oh,
where
okay.
there is
Cut each other?
It's not necessarily cutting,
It's a
but it could
little-
be used with something that could create a prick, so where there would be bloodlet.
Yeah.
So there are some, I mean, I'm pretty sure nobody here is into scat play, water sports.
What kind of water sports?
I like water sports.
You talking about squirting?
Yeah, tell us what this is.
Water sports would
like that.
would entail like a
Like Marco Polo.
no like
that type of water sport.
like I know squirting we're gonna get to, but
That's a water sport.
Damn right.
water sports could include someone enjoying being urinated on.
I enjoyed
Scat
that.
play is
I enjoyed that.
Yeah, it's just weird. It just depends. Like below.
That's what I'm
below the
saying.
waist.
So
Yeah,
here's
yeah.
what I'm saying. Basically,
Yeah.
what I'm saying is
wrong with
doing
that.
I will, I want, I won't list allows you the opportunity to examine on a list, literally a list, all of the things that you might be into. Do you want to be valprehended?
You gotta break down
Like
these
grabbed.
words.
Oh, okay.
Like valprehended means to be grabbed. Do you want to be
like to be
grabbed by
grabbed.
the ass? Do you want to be grabbed by the titty? Like there are
Wait, I
all
have a
these
question.
things.
You could grab my.
Do you like
Wanna
water
grab it,
sports?
Titty?
I mean, honestly, that which I like has absolutely nothing to do with what I teach and my
I was just-
professionalism.
That's it.
So I truly appreciate that question. But you, sir,